What's good, everybody? Welcome into your favorite sports and wrestling show all over this great world of ours in conjunction with SportsKeeda Wrestling and SportsKeeda.com. I, of course, am the coach. This is the Coach and Bro Show. But my bro, Vince Russo from Russo'sBrand.com, he's on the road this week. He's on assignment. So who do you call in? When you call in the lefty, there is only one man that even came to mind. And you know what I'm talking about. From behind the turnbuckle, please welcome Big Tommy C. Hello, Tommy. Welcome to the show for the first time.
What's happening, Coach? And does this mean I could say bro?
Tommy, it is copyrighted, and we do not want Vince suing somebody on his own show. On his own show. But you can say it once or twice.
All right, I will.
Now, you're actually here, Tommy, for the very first time. We have decided, because our audience has spoken, they love the wrestling content, maybe not necessarily coming to us for NFL picks. You know what I mean? So we're going to go all wrestling, about 20 or 25 minutes. Then, if you're not a subscriber to Backstage Pass, we have tons of content. Us, JBL, Gerald Briscoe, you got the radio show. I encourage you to do that because we'll have another 15 or 20 minutes over on Backstage Pass as well. But, Tommy, we got to jump right in because we're starting to see something with the WWE that maybe in our time together there, we saw just a handful of times, and that is taping a Raw after another Raw this past Monday in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And it's that sets a pivotal time with Survivor Series coming up that you've got a lot of storylines, and then they taped another 2-hour show right afterwards. What do you make of this decision by Triple H?
Well, you know what? I like them. I'm not in fan of the taping, but if it's going to help talent get some time off and rest a little bit, I'm in favor of that. And I'm sure that's the reason why we're doing it. My only caveat to this whole thing is like a lot of stuff that happened in that second hour should have happened in the first hour, like Rhea Ripley coming back. Like, I think that would have been a huge deal on the live show.
You mean happened in the second show, not the second hour. You mean the second show.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the second show. That's what I meant. I'm sorry, folks. Yeah, the second show. Because you know what? We're in the world of social media. That thing was out a half hour after the show was over, showing Rhea Ripley with the mask on her face. And I'm like, man, what is going on? They're giving everything away. So why do you need to watch on Monday night? So for the fact of the matter that they are giving talent time off, I'm in favor of that, Coach.
That is supposed to be the overriding reason, Tommy. So you just hit the nail on the head. And that was something I always was in favor of because I only was able to miss one Monday in 520 some odd weeks during my first, which is just ridiculous. It's too much, even at Christmas time. So, Tommy, I agree with you that giving the talent time off, and I wrote it down. I looked it up. November 22nd, 29th, SmackDown is going to have double taping. December 30th and 20th, SmackDown, a double taping. December 16th and the 23rd, Raw, a double taping. So when you sign these big deals and there's multi-billions at stake, you just can't take a week off. And that's what I would rather see because here's the problem. Everybody's complaining on social media. I've already found out. I already know. Well, guess what, Tommy? Back in the day, this happened all the time. Just don't read the spoilers. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Well, here's the difference. Back in the day, there wasn't really no social media, right? There was no Twitter, no Facebook, no Instagram. So our world was a lot better. I don't even think we barely had cell phones then. If they did, they were about this freaking big, right? So that's the main difference between our time and now. Everything is on social media. As soon as you say something, they're saying, Coach said this, Coach said that. Whether it's right or wrong, we don't know. Only we know here that it's right or wrong. But on social media, there's so much BS out there. But when you have video of everything, that's the problem with the tape show and the social media world today.
And I guess to take it a step further, here's the problem with doing what they did. The second show, and I know they wanted to put good stuff on the second show. But when it's a return of Rhea Ripley that we thought she was going to be gone for an extended period of time, when you're trying to decide who's going to be the fifth member on the two men's teams for War Games, and then you're putting together a women's War Game match, isn't, Tommy, the War Games supposed to be a bunch of talent that really don't like each other, that it's really a war? Well, I feel that way with the OG Bloodline and 2.0. But when those women came out at the end of Raw and you had a women's match that was 10 minutes but had a break in it of 3 minutes. Everything felt rushed to me. And then all of a sudden, here comes Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and all these different women to kind of throw together a match. It's not a salad. You don't just throw it together and hopefully it tastes good. You got to build this stuff up. In the women's division, to me, that was
Oh,
a glaring red light. I barely could get to 10 to think about who would be in this match.
I didn't know who was with who. Nia's running in, Tiff's running in. Is Tiff going to turn on Nia? What's going on here? It was just and I hate to say it like this, it was just like you said, it was a shit show. I don't know who was the producer of all that. Boy, man, it wasn't done very well, and they could do things better at WWE, as we know. I agree with you totally on that fact.
When you have, and this is what sometimes you run into when there are certain storylines and talent that dominate the shows. And Tommy, I was shocked during Monday's Raw that we had multiple matches with multiple segments. I thought when we got back to 2 hours that all of that would be done. But you've got Liv Morgan and Dom and all these people dominating and having multiple segments, even when they're backstage with Finn Balor. So then when you've got to fill out one of your four, this is the core four. You're talking
Yeah.
Royal Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam. This is the last big event of 2024. So they felt like I needed to do this, but you didn't have enough talent to fill out what they need to do. Plus, with the brand split, you've got another thing. I think it's going to be Cody and KO. So that's another show or another match that you can't promote on Monday Night Raw. So to me, they put themselves into this situation. Did they not?
They always do, coach. And we talked about this we were talking about this since the summertime. This brand split's got to go, man. It's the shits. And for you to put a storyline over, now we're seeing guys cross over. Solo was there the other night. They're crossing over to SmackDown. Now they're starting to listen to us because it doesn't work, folks. It doesn't work at all. We need a combination of both there. And God forbid, when it happens, when Raw gets on Netflix, all the big stars are going to Raw. Now, what do you have at SmackDown, right? You have nobody. They want Roman over there. Punk is going to be there. What do you got for SmackDown? LA Knight? I'm not crapping on LA Knight, but with no Roman there, who's going to be watching on USA Network? The brand split needs to stop in 2025.
You're going to see a lot of I think dissension amongst USA Network and Netflix. But let's be honest, Netflix, they're throwing the $5 billion out there. USA, they would say, hey, we've been the OG network for well over 25 years. Now, all of these stories kind of come together because of the taped Raws. What it always comes back to. And Ryback, former WWE superstar, who's been very, very vocal over the last couple of years that things that he
Mhm.
doesn't like. He actually had a positive tweet in favor of what Triple H has decided to do to give the talent a week off before the holidays get here. And this is what he had to say. Understand this, for years, talent's barely had time off. I was there. I know. Holidays, family time, true rest. I once had to fly on Christmas Day back to Connecticut. He goes, rare luxuries. They have to rush home, do laundry, repack, dry clean suits, and head back out on the road. Wrestlers are human beings with lives, families, and nonstop schedules. If tape shows give them a breather, that's a good thing. And then at the end, he said, quit the whining over nothing and show some respect to the men and women who give you some sort of meaning to your pathetic lives. And
Wow.
Tommy, we have seen and met so many great fans, but there is a big number that feels like the wrestlers and the talent are there to serve them instead of the other way around. And that's how you get a positive, but yet with a negative spin to it.
Well, I totally agree with Ryback on this whole deal, man. The talent goes through hell. You went through it. You were on the road how many days a week when you went international and everything like that? You barely had time to get home, take a shower, and repack, and then you're out again. This time now gives them a week off, right? Now they
Mm-hmm.
could do what they want. They could take it easy, not working out in the gym, not going to the tanning place, not doing this, not just having time to just come down a little bit instead of being up here all the time. When you walk through an airport, you got fans, and you know it. You went through it. Fans just bothering you here. Now you get a whole week home and you just chill. And that's what they're going to do. And I appreciate Ryback's words because he's always not been nice to the WWE, but he's been one of the boys. He knows what it's like, and everything he's saying is absolutely true.
the the dates as you really break it down, and you're going to have November 11th was the Monday, and then November 18th they've already taped in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Not to mention how the crowd's going to die down at the end of 4 hours of wrestling.
Mhm.
That's a sidelight. So then the week of Survivor Series, you've got November 22nd and the 29th. They're going to tape SmackDown on the 22nd, 2 episodes. So you'll have a live Raw on the 25th, but a taped SmackDown on the 29th, and then Survivor Series live. See, I'm already confusing you. I'm already all over the place. But those are the dates that I got. So you're not even going to have a live SmackDown reportedly, but the night before Survivor Series, because that is the day after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving
Yeah,
is the
the
20 is the
28th.
28th.
28th. Yeah, it's
So
late this year. Yep.
it's really late this year. So apparently he doesn't want the talent to travel on Thanksgiving Day because you always have to you can't fly in the day of.
No,
That was always a Vince thing. You have to come in the
no,
day before. Um,
no.
so Tommy, isn't that confusing? And if you're a writer and you're trying to keep everything moving in the same direction, we've already seen in Saudi Arabia when the girls got the dates mixed up and the days mixed up. How many mistakes do you think we're going to see because we don't know what's taped and what's live and what's been said in what shows?
You know what I'm shocked about, Coach?
What's
That
that?
the go home to SmackDown is not live, and when you got Survivor Series the next day, that's the most shocking thing that you just said to me, that the
Mm-hmm.
29th is a tape show. That almost never, ever, ever happens with this company, and it's happening now. I can't believe it's not live at all, but I get it with Thanksgiving and everything. I'm just shocked at the matter that stuff happens during a tape show that could be different going into Saturday, right? I don't know. Somebody could have fallen, broken their leg at home or something.
100%.
Now you got to show you're showing I'm wrestling. Any person that you then you mention on the paper on the PLE, oh, he's not here. He got hurt. I'm shocked at that. I really am shocked that the go home and you know how big the go home is. It was drilled in our head every time we had a production. This is the go home week. We got to make sure everything hits home. Everything's got to be perfect. And it's a tape show. Wow.
I'm going to say something that is going to shock you, Tommy Carlucci. I disagree with this. And I've been one of the biggest proponents of time off for talent, period. And I want them to have time off when it matters. You'll say, but coach, holiday, Thanksgiving. No, 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 no. In classic WWE and pro wrestling fashion, Thanksgiving was always a holiday where they had a show. Always a holiday, Tommy C, where you had guys on the road. Because Thanksgiving, in my mind, is not nearly the same as Christmas. Christmas, for a lot of people, is religious. A lot of people, it's about presents, it's about family. That's not what Thanksgiving is. And if you're a football player, Tommy, and you're in the NFL, do you get that day off if you're playing a Thanksgiving Day game? No. The day after, are the college teams playing a live college football game on the day after Thanksgiving?
Yep.
Yep, which means they're on the road on Thanksgiving. So I severely disagree with this because Tommy of how vital the Survivor Series plan is. Why can't they give them off time in May or June when actually you can take your kids on a vacation if you're a WWE superstar? Wouldn't you rather have 2 weeks off then than now?
Absolutely. Here's my question to you, coach. How do you think USA feels about this? That everybody watching that show is a tape show and their viewership's going to go from here to here because they're going to know all the things that happen on social media. So they can't be very happy about that.
Wrestling fans are the absolute worst when it comes to spoilers. This has been an issue since way before online. I'll never forget we were in a meeting one time, Tommy, and we were in Chicago. And Linda McMahon and Mick Foley were the two big surprises. And the key to pro wrestling and Raw, SmackDown, AEW, no matter what, indie shows, it's the art of the surprise. And I'll never forget, it got out on social, whatever it was back then, it got out that they were going to be in town, that they were going to be on the show. So now during the show, all anybody's doing is looking at the entrance, just like Roman Reigns over in Germany. You announce that he's on the show. What did the
Yep,
whole audience do? We're looking
yep.
over here instead of looking at the match. I'll never forget. Vince stands up, irate, irate, and basically threatens the entire room. And he said, I would not want to be you if we find out you are the ones who have talked to the dirt sheets. And part of the
Wow.
reason there's so much negativity and misquoting of us all the time is that these dirt sheets don't care if they get it right. They care if they get the clicks. And that's the difference between mainstream media and wrestling media. And so now, if you're a wrestling fan, Tommy, why is it so hard just to say, you know what? I'm not going to look at this website for a week so I can still enjoy my favorite shows. I don't go over and watch what's on Chicago Fire or
Yep,
Chicago PD. I just
yep,
watch the show,
yep.
right?
Yeah. Wrestling fans are and you always wanna even wrestling fans that go to the tape show, they wanna be the first one to let the spoiler, "I'm gonna put it up on social media. Oh, Rhea
Yep.
Ripley appeared." You always wanna be the first one, so it's a shock value thing. "Oh my god, Rhea's back." Then they showed a little video from their phone and stuff like that. So they love doing that crap. They don't get it. They don't get what we do and how we do it and how it affects everything. Kayfabe. Do you know what kayfabe is?
Don't
That
say
means
anything.
keep your mouth shut. But in this day and age, that doesn't happen anymore.
It's been years and years, and you ask any talent because they work their asses off to come up with storylines and promos and things that can get a crowd reaction. And coming up a little bit later over on Backstage Pass, we're going to talk about that exact thing in AEW and how John Moxley had a horrible incident because there was no crowd reaction. It's everything when you're writing this stuff. And so to tape 4 hours to know what's going on to then have the reaction, so to me it's all bad. It's all
Mhm.
bad because you fans cannot have any discipline whatsoever to not go and look. Topic number 3 or 4. And I love having the rundown on the right side. Producer man always doing a fantastic job. Announcement made this week, Tommy, and the social media world of WWE and the executives, they are starting to do things now that Vince McMahon is no longer in charge. You never would have seen if Vince was still in charge as far as revealing things this far ahead before Survivor Series. But they announced that John Cena will be participating in the Royal Rumble match, his last one of his career, coming up on February 1st. So we're over almost 3 months, so 2.5 months, and we already know. And you know why they did that, Tommy? Let's raise those ticket prices. Let's get those people paying a premium to come see John Cena for the last time in the Royal Rumble. Are you surprised they announced it so early?
No, this is the way the new regime is. And you know what? On social media, I saw the shilling of John Cena selling the fact that it's his last Royal Rumble. Get your tickets now. In the old regime, you would have never seen that. No way. The old man he hated shilling. Well, I saw it on social media. It was like 35 seconds long, maybe even 40, had his last scene t-shirt on. This is the last time you're going to see me ever in the Royal Rumble ring. Get your tickets now. It's February 1st. And I'm like, oh my God, John Cena, I'm surprised you even did this because that is not in your wheelhouse at all. Now, unless the upper guys there at TKO, Shapiro, Nick, or whatever made him do that, it made him look really bad in my eyes because he's never, ever in my time, I've never seen him do anything like that.
And he's a Vince guy. He's been one of the very few talents that during this all of this nastiness that's going on with the breakup of Vince and the WWE that has said anything positive about Vince McMahon. So
Yep.
that's a little bit shocking. But let's also remember they're paying him a lot of money for this
Yep.
last year. He's going to make a lot of this. And Mark Shapiro, who is the COO of the WWE or TKO, he's been very, very open, surprisingly so, and adamant that because the events are selling out so quickly, that obviously we're not charging enough for our
Mhm.
tickets. And so I believe Indianapolis, it's not in the it's at the football stadium, am I right? It's not
Yes.
right. So you're
Lucas
talking
Oil Stadium. Lucas Oil.
Lucas Oil. So you're talking about 60,000 people, and
Yep,
it's not 2020 that you would have at the where the Pacers play. So now,
yep.
Tommy, you're going to sell 60,000 seats plus. Do I really need to get $1,000 a ticket, $1,500 a ticket? And this screams to me, we're a little bit worried about selling 60,000 at the price tag that we want to sell it out. And so we got to do everything in our power for 2 months so we can sell every single seat all the way up to the top at a premium. So let's use John Cena to do it. To me, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. They're using John Cena to make people say, "Oh my God, Dad, it's the last time we're going to see him in the Royal Rumble. We got to go see him." And that's what that's all about. And that's one thing, like I said, man, having a talent show like that makes it look really, really cheap and cheesy in my eyes. I'm sorry. They're already promoting the Elimination Chamber being in Toronto. I've never seen
Yeah.
so many promotions in Raw all my life. All the years I was there, how many times did we see tickets? Maybe 2, 3 weeks out when you know the tickets are not there for a Raw, SmackDown, or even a pay per view back in then, that's when you would see it. But now you're seeing it 3 months out, coach. We're seeing it 3 months out. Different
Here,
time. Different time.
here's what would have happened during the old regime because I was in 2 Royal Rumbles. So Tommy, I know what it's like. I was there. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Uh, and what Vince would have done, or they would have sat around if Pat Patterson was still here, and all the some of the smarter minds in the history of the business, they would have waited out. Would it be more impactful to advertise John Cena that he's going to be in it, or to have him come in as number 21 or number 22? You hit the music, and all of a sudden the place goes absolutely bananas because you were able to slide him into town without anybody knowing. We've seen that with Ronda Rousey. We saw that with, oh no, they didn't do that with Roman Reigns over in Germany. I love the surprises, Tommy, and I would
Yep.
love to get back to that, but it almost feels like they said, you know what, we're going to tap. We know the fans won't allow us to do it. The fans are going to be at the airport looking for Cena to land. Remember when they had the event in Atlanta? What was in Atlanta? SummerSlam, was that Atlanta?
Bad blood.
All right, Bad Blood.
Bad
Yes,
blood.
Bad Blood. How many reports did we hear of? Oh, we've seen Brock Lesnar there. We've seen this
Yes.
guy there, right? And none of that materialized. And so everybody got hyped for no reason. And the old regime, I don't think ever would have. I've also seen rumblings of this. And Tommy, you and I take this with a grain of salt because we understand it, that The Rock potentially could also be entered into the Royal Rumble match. And let's say, hypothetically, for our discussion, that's the case. And we know the struggle that Rock and Cody and Roman had trying to decide who was going to go over, who was going to be in last year's WrestleMania. Well, Tommy, tell me this. What does your mind tell you if you've got John Cena starting his tour, and then you got The Rock coming off a movie that we'll talk about on Backstage Pass that does not make a lot of money, and now all of a sudden he needs something to hit, and you've got him also in that same match? There's only one winner. There's only one ticket to the main event at WrestleMania. What do you think?
I think I would like to see them two face off in the end. I want to see Rock and Cena at the end of the
Can you
Royal Rumble.
imagine?
If I
Can you
was if
imagine?
I was writing Royal Rumble, I would make John Cena first. I would make him first and then pull out the surprise that the final boss comes out like 25. And then they go face to face again,
Keep
right?
talking. Keep talking. Let's
They
go.
go face to face. Let's go back to Miami, the 2 WrestleManias that we built the year around. It's all come to this. It's my last time. I'm the final boss. Fuck you. Who's gonna win? That's how I would end that show.
Wow,
And then
can
Rock
you
would get
imagine?
off.
They would stand there like Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania 18. Half the crowd would be for The Rock, half the crowd would be for John Cena. But what do we do? How do we finish the match? Do you try to pull off one of those crazy things where you're dangling over the rope like Shawn Michaels? Or do you have a disaster like the year of Batista, and then out comes Vince, he tears his legs apart? I was in the building for that.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. But Tommy, what a way that would be to start the year. Two
Wow.
weeks, 2 weeks after, because Netflix starts, I think it's January 15th. Then two
Yeah.
weeks after that, you would have that. You're never going to get that again. So why not do
Never.
that? I don't care if Seth Rollins and those current guys bitch about it,
Yeah.
it could be mega power against mega power.
Yeah. I mean, there's superstars and then there's mega superstars. And Rock and Cena are mega superstars. I like Seth, I like Cody, I like Roman, but they're not on the level of Cena and Rock, knowing the history they have had. So if any writers are out there listening to the Coach and Bro show, we just gave you a storyline, folks.
You're welcome. Call us. You're welcome. That will do it for this side of it. As you guys know, we chopped this into 2 different shows. It's going to be all wrestling all the time moving forward. Big Tommy C, a big part of what we're doing here at the Coach and Bro Show. You can also catch him on Behind the Turnbuckle multiple times a week. But for more Rock discussion, and also, did you guys see what happened at the AEW tapings this week? Oh my goodness. We'll talk all about it. Go subscribe right now to Backstage Pass Patreon at sportskeeda.com and SportsKeeda Wrestling.